Practice week is here, people. It's time to get game face ready, whatever the heck that means.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Thanks for making us your first listen. Jimmy, let's get right back into the countdown. We literally don't have any time to spare because it's practice week. Man, we've been waiting on this week. You and I are on a text chain with a bunch of friends, and man, we were like, this weekend kind of sucks last weekend. I mean, not just that we lost a commitment or two, but that we also have nothing to watch. I mean, there was like some Major League Baseball, which is 2/3 of the way through the season, which is nothing. There's golf, which is nobody even understands what golf is anymore. Is it the LIV Tour? Is it the PGA Tour? Does everybody like each other? Does everybody hate each other? And then that's about it. There was some WNBA action. If you're high on that, congratulations. But otherwise, I mean, we need football worse than ever, and it's time to start talking about it. And we're going to talk about it with my main man, Jace McClellan. And before you get into Jace McClellan, I'm going to show you his most famous run from last year. Jace McClellan against Texas last year. I was at the game. I can't believe there was no volume. I didn't know there wasn't volume. I'm sorry about that.
I remember there being noise at the game.
I do vividly remember there being noise at the game. And I remember
that won the game for Alabama. We don't win the game without that play.
There's no doubt. And I remember when that happened late in the first quarter thinking, okay, now we're about to start kicking butt. And we did not start kicking butt.
No, we didn't. That was and it's funny how that game, I think to some extent, that game affected the fans the rest of the season, and just maybe the team to a degree. I think in retrospect, while I wasn't shocked that it played out the way it did, I was a little surprised. I thought Alabama would win that game more handily. I really did. But, man, that game really had a hangover effect, I think, for the whole season in terms of, wait a minute, is this team not as good as we thought they were? And then anytime something, not great happened, that just got magnified. But we're here to talk about Jace, and Jace helped win the Texas game. There's no doubt that play helped decide the game. He's also helped decide others. I thought Jace McClellan may have been the difference in winning and losing versus Ole Miss late in the season. And when he was a sophomore, that game at Florida that was also decided by one play. I don't think Alabama wins that game without Jace in that game. When I went back and looked at Jace's career and deciding where to rank him and deciding, what we're going to talk about when we get to Jace. I have him ranked as the 6th best player on the whole football team. That's, hugely significant to say the least. He's been very productive. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards now as an Alabama back. His yard per carry number is very good. He catches the ball really well. I think the defining thing in his career so far is actually the injury, because he was playing really well as a sophomore and then got hurt. So he missed all that playoff run down the stretch in 2021, and Alabama missed him terribly. If you guys remember, it was Brian Robinson who was playing gimpy and nothing behind him. A gimpy Trey Sanders was behind him. We really missed Jace down the stretch in 2021. And last year, when he was back and serving really as the number 2 player to Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield, I think Jace was like 90% healthy or 95% of the way back. But I really don't think we saw Jace completely back, which is normal for a guy coming off an ACL tear in the rehab. So we have yet to see, in my opinion, we've yet to see Jace McClellan as both an experienced, mature player and a completely 100% healthy one. So we're going to see a better Jace McClellan this year than we ever have. And the one we've seen so far is pretty good. I mean, again, he's been a staff player of the week multiple times. He's rushed for over 100 yards in a game a couple times. He's had 2 80-yard touchdown runs. He catches the ball. He's a good kid. This is really one of the best players on the team and underrated. Hey, look, I know it's fun to be obsessed with the shiny new toy, and fans are going to clamor for Justice Haynes and Jam Miller. I get that. Don't do it at the expense of Jace. Jace has earned this. He's put in his time. He's worked to improve. He's a good player. This is not apples to apples, Luke, but one last thing I'll bring up, and I'm getting this from Clint Lamb at BOL. It's where I kind of stole it from. But it's kind of reminiscent of 2018 to a degree when Damian Harris was the senior starter, and Damian had earned it by staying that fourth year. We know Damian was a good player. He wasn't awesome, but Damian was good. And he was coming back for his fourth year. We needed to reward that. And it's not like Alabama suffered at any point for any snap in the game that Damian Harris was on the field. Alabama had a good back on the field. But we also felt, I think most of us did, the best back on that team is probably Josh Jacobs. So Josh never started the games, but he actually was drafted well ahead of Damian, going in the first round, and has been a great NFL player. Well, I sort of feel like it's that situation this year. Jace as playing the role of Damian Harris. Well, he's a senior. He's earned this. He's a good player. We're never going to suffer for having Jace McClellan on the field. Is he the most gifted guy? We're probably going to find that he's not. I think maybe Justice Haynes, maybe Jam Miller becomes that guy over the course of the season. But don't get so obsessed with that. All it matters is, does Alabama have a good running back on the field? When Jace on the field, Alabama's good. And I do think Justice and Jam will catch him at some point in terms of effectiveness. But Jace is a heck of a good player. I mean, the sixth best player on the team. In my opinion, Luke, if he gets enough carries, I think he's a second team all SEC type. I think he'll play in the Senior Bowl, and I think he's going to be drafted somewhere around the third or fourth round.
Well, he was named second team all SEC preseason, which means absolutely nothing, but he was named that. So I think you're right. I think the Damian Harris comp is a good one. I think Jace McClellan's probably better, probably more of a home run hitter, less of a short yardage guy than Damian. And the reason I say that is because Damian got caught from behind multiple times, whereas
they're not exactly alike. Yeah, they're not exactly alike stylistically. I just meant as a gosh, I don't mean to use the word placeholder. I don't mean to use the word placeholder. That's too. I just mean that he's the senior veteran that's earned the role of starting running back, and it does not in any way inflict any sort of negative impact on the team that maybe a couple of the younger backs might end up down the road being better players.
Jimmy, right now, let me tell everybody about eBay Motors. Look, Jace McClellan's got a motor. And if you've got something with a motor on it, you want to check out eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors, please. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to the My Garage area and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. On the next Locked On Bama, we'll be very close to wrapping up Jimmy Stein's world-famous countdown. I don't know who will be on because it's a secret to me too. I could look it up, but I'm not gonna because I like to be surprised just like y'all. Instead, right now, I'm going to talk about my main man, Jaheim Oatis. And I have been so excited about being able to download these videos. Let me see if this one has any audio accordingly.
I doubled them, and it did not work.
They did try and double them. It didn't work. I don't know why the volume isn't working on these things that I have downloaded. Look, let me try one other one. This is not Jaheim Oatis related, but since people have asked, let me see if the volume still works on this one.
Looking for Brooks in the corner. Got it. Touchdown, Alabama.
It still works.
Great call by Nessler there, actually. I mean, even though I've seen it 1,000 times, you forget that it's hard, I think, for the play-by-play guy to identify the intended target with the ball in the air. It takes some that's nimble work by Brad Nessler. Jaheim Otis. Hey, look, one thing we did, it doesn't matter, but, I have Jace McClellan's sixth best player on the team. I had Jaheim Otis actually one notch behind Jace. Actually, I have Otis as the seventh best player on the team, one spot behind Jace. But, boy, to be the number 7 player on the whole team as a true sophomore, here's the big shocker to me. I mean, every year we have 2 or 3 true freshmen that end up being incredibly impactful. Sometimes you can see that coming. I think we see that coming with Caleb Downs. We can see it coming to some extent with Justice Haynes. But then every now and then there's the true freshman that's instantly impactful that you don't see coming, that you were glad you signed him. You know he's going to be a good player, but he just shows up much better than anyone anticipated, and that's Otis. I'd say Malachi Moore, who we talked about the other day, also really similar in 2020. Who had Malachi as an instant starter that ends up being a freshman All-American? Jaheim Otis, similarly, was actually one of the best defensive linemen on the team last year as a true freshman. He was a starter, very impactful. We just saw the clip, where he beats a double team and stops Auburn for no gain. Typical of Otis freshman year. In fact, though, I would say a typical play for Otis doesn't even involve a stat. One thing about him is he doesn't dent the stat sheet too much. He just had about 24, 26 tackles, 2 or 3 for loss, 1 sack. Yet he was incredibly impactful. You're like, how could that be? He's not making many tackles. Well, it's because he eats up that A gap so well that teams that try to run inside, they have to bounce it outside because he owns those gaps. He forces teams to change what they plant. Sometimes in the pre-snap, they're like, hey, we're going to run the ball up the middle, and they see Otis and go, never mind, we're not going to do that. And then sometimes they run it up the middle anyway. Otis's presence forces the back to bounce outside, boom, ends up tackle for loss or no gain or a short gain. And that's due to Otis and his presence. He doesn't have to necessarily dent the stat sheet to affect the offense and help his defensive teammates make a negative play against the offense. That's Otis. And for those that say, that doesn't sound like a lot, why would you say that's the 7th best player on the team then? Well, let me remind everybody that Terrence Cody was a unanimous first-team All-American in 2009. I don't think any of us downplay what Terrence Cody meant to the 2009 Alabama defense that won a national championship. Terrence Cody, for that season, 28 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and no sacks. Well, that sounds a lot like Otis right now, right? Otis making a huge impact on the field, hugely affects the offense. He does so on almost every snap. Just don't expect a lot of production. It's just not a position where there's going to be a lot of production unless you're using that player differently. But I think the Otis comparison to Terrence Cody is fairly good. I think he's actually more athletic than Cody. He can get involved in the pass rush more than Cody ever did. And in fact, Otis did have a sack a year ago. I bet he has 2 or 3 sacks this year in even better shape, and he's going to play more snaps as a returning veteran. So I have him as the 7th best player on the team. I think he will be, we'll write this down for my long-term projection, Luke. I think Jaheim Otis will be the first defensive lineman at Alabama to be a first-round pick since Quentin Williams. And that happened actually in the 2019 draft. Otis will be drafted in 2025. So it'll be 6 years since Alabama had a first-round defensive lineman. Several defensive linemen drafted through that period, but none of the first since Q.
Man, that I'll tell you that when you say that,
Yeah.
it makes it sound like a lot of our problems are, in terms of our problems, it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
The fact that we have only won 1 title since then,
2019.
it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, well, we played for the title in 2019. Well, in 2018, in Quentin Williams' year, which was actually 2018. So it was the 2018 season. But yeah, 2019 was the year 2 we got hurt. 2020 they did win it all. 2021 they made it all the way to the national championship game, led in the 4th quarter. But yeah, in 2022 not making the playoff like 2019.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and take a break, Jimmy. When we come back, going to talk a little bit about cookout fallout. And we're back. Jimmy, any other news to spread around from the cookout? I know that Daniel Hill came in, had a great visit. He's going to be announcing in August. As you mentioned, Nathaniel Frazier, the number one running back in most circles, is going to be announcing later this week. And he didn't come to the cookout, but it's at really Alabama and Georgia, it sounds like. I guess my question would be, which one would you rather have, Daniel Hill or Frazier? And then anything else you can glean from cookout this weekend?
Yeah, a lot actually. And Frazier will be announcing. I think his announcement is Sunday. We think of BOL, that's Alabama or Georgia. We don't have a prediction on Frazier yet. So anyone that's writing him off, you know more than we do. We know quite a bit at BOL. Our record over there is outstanding at getting these predictions right. But we take our time and check with sources that have the best in the business working for us with Tim Watts and Andrew Bone and Joseph Hastings. So we'll probably get this prediction right. We're just not ready to make one yet because we're not sure based on conversations with sources. So we'll have to see on Frazier, probably Alabama or Georgia. I saw a comment on the message board that sort of led me to someone was lamenting and complaining, or at least was down because Alabama didn't get any commitments from the cookout. And I hadn't said anything yet, but it's been kind of festering with me a little while. And my comment about it is, how do you know that? How does he know we didn't get any commitments this weekend? Commitments are often given to the coaching staff, and then they publicly come out later because the kid wants to make a big announcement. He doesn't want some kids. Every kid is different, all right? But I would even say most kids that are highly regarded, and most of the Alabama prospects are, they like making a big statement, a big announcement, having their day. If they just go on a visit and halfway through the visit, they just tweet out, love it here, committed here, I'm good. That's not much of an announcement, right, when you don't know that it's coming. So this person like, Alabama didn't get any commitments this weekend. What a disaster. How did they know Alabama didn't get any commitments? As a matter of fact, I bet they did. We're not going to say who because it's not supposed to be public. It will come out later. I just question anybody that says Alabama didn't get any commitments. They probably, we don't know definitely, they probably did. Several guys visiting this weekend left huge Alabama leans. They liked Alabama coming in. They left Alabama. I think one development, if you want to call it that, is Ryan Williams and Jamie French continue to become besties, which is awesome. They're really tight. They seem to really enjoy each other's company and look forward to being teammates. I think that's really big because holding on to them for a year and a half potentially is going to be nerve-wracking, right? Because they're both so great. We have the 26th quarterback, Juju Lewis, in. He's been to Alabama so many times. Clearly, Alabama is going to be one of his finalists when he makes a decision. And again, we'll probably talk about the number one quarterback in the country when it comes time for Juju Lewis to make his announcement. An interesting senior, a rising senior offensive lineman that was there, Luke, is Edwin Favor. We haven't talked about him at all. I don't believe on the show. We need to because Alabama likes him a ton. This is a guy not too highly rated, and it's understandably why. He's never played football. He's going to be a senior this fall. He's never played football, but he has done the camp circuit this summer, and everyone that's seen him loves him, including Alabama. Looks like Alabama and Florida might be his two favorites. Alabama wants to see him play in a game. They had him in camp. They love him. They're recruiting him hard. They're just telling him, we want to see you play in a game. He's an offensive tackle, spent most of his life in Kenya, where they don't play football, and he's only recently moved to the U.S. Like 6'8", tremendous length, tremendously athletic. This guy has all the upside in the world. And is going to play his senior year of high school in the Atlanta area. I think Landmark Christian, where Alabama signed players before. So real interesting kid, Edwin Favor. He was there this weekend. A lot of the younger offensive linemen committed to Alabama, Mason Short, Glover, Hilton from, that plays with Juju Lewis, the young center that's committed to us. He was there. It was a big, good weekend for Alabama. Daniel Hill was there. He's making a decision sometime in August. Double-digit visits now for Daniel Hill to Tuscaloosa. That's big. Alabama has prioritized him for a long time. And maybe the biggest visitor of all, Amari Jefferson. He visited Saturday. Again, his announcement is Saturday. This is one of the best wide receivers in all of high school football. Announcement Saturday, probably between Alabama and Tennessee. He's a two-sport player. He met with the baseball staff Saturday. From all accounts, that went really well. This kid wants to play baseball in college. He's an extremely good baseball player. By the way, for our fans that listen to the show in Hoover, get out there to the out to the ballpark in Hoover this week, because he's going to be participating with other pro prospects, other pro baseball prospects. That's how good this kid is at baseball. But he'll be playing baseball in Hoover this week, working out for pro scouts. So Amari Jefferson will commit on Saturday between Alabama and Tennessee. He was on campus this weekend. So that's another guy. When people say, hey, we didn't get any commitments. Well, Amari Jefferson has an announcement this Saturday, and he was there. They'll tell him what he may or may not have told the coaches, or if he's made a decision yet. We don't know that, but we will know what Amari Jefferson is doing after this upcoming Saturday. On3 ranks him, I think, at number something like 104. I don't have it in front of me. Just barely out of the top 100. And he's rising. He's a riser. Watch the other services to catch up, Luke, on Amari Jefferson. He's a big-time player. Great frame, super speed, highly athletic, and any baseball player has great ball skills.
There's no doubt about it. All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more. And until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.